Hi, and welcome to Broadcast Studio at GBTA Canada Conference 2025. I'm Janetta Costa-Sanchez, Country Director for GBTA Canada. And joining me today is Ryan Young, Assistant Managing Director of Sales Canada at Hilton. Ryan, thank you for being here. What are the top traveler trends Hilton is seeing in 2025?
Great question. Yeah, every year we come out with our annual trends report, and this year, 2025, Hilton has dubbed it the year of the travel maximizer. So everyone's like, "What's the travel maximizer?"
I don't know what that is.
In short, it's really about the travel. The current traveler is looking to maximize their time on their road. So they're seeking things like adventure while they're on the road. They're looking to fully immerse themselves in the destination that they're going to. And it's actually something we refer to as slow travel, that when you go somewhere, we're always coming and going and so busy that you actually take a moment to embrace the local surroundings and take that extra day to enjoy a destination, to enjoy the food culture of wherever you're traveling. And again, it's coming back to that, they want to maximize their time on the road. And ultimately, I think it's really hard these days not to mix work and pleasure. So we're seeing more and more of that, where when they do go on the road, that they want to make sure they take advantage of that time. So ultimately, we also came up with really four main trends in 2025. So the first one being time travel is what we dubbed it, and it's just where you're looking at destinations that also bring back childhood memories.
I love
and going
that.
back and taking your kids to it to relive those moments and share those special moments with family and friends. So that's one of the trends. The second trend I briefly touched on was slow travel, where again embracing the time in a destination and really diving into it to fully enjoy it. And then we've also got the adventure part, where, again, people are seeking more and more adventure. I think as the younger generations get on the road, they're looking to get those unique experiences and push themselves a little bit out of their comfort zone. And the last one, which I think is probably the most important, is what we call sleep tourism. And when you're on the road, you want a good sleep. And as we've actually, in the report, it stated that most people sleep better on the road than they do at home in a hotel, which I think is very important, because you think you're free of distractions, you don't have the kids, you don't have the outside of work commitments, you're really on the road, you're focused on work or relaxing and recuperating.
That makes sense, actually. Thank you for that. So that actually leads us into our next question. Where does wellness sit in terms of traveler preferences?
Yeah. I think wellness is, so front and center. You're talking about physical wellness, but also mental wellness.
Absolutely.
So, our hotels are really working hard to look at and study the amenities and study all of the brand components of a hotel to make sure that when people are traveling, they feel comfortable on the road, but they also have that wellness component. So I think the obvious things are, obviously you're hitting the gym, but one of the neat things that we've developed more so in Europe than our North American hotels, where we actually now have fitness amenities in the rooms. Like you can hop on a bike with your beautiful view of the city and hit the gym right beside your bed.
That's
right?
amazing.
And then move on to the rest of your day, because we know when people are traveling, you don't have a lot of time. So you really have to maximize that. We also look at wellness and healthy food options, right? I think everyone is very conscious of what to eat these days, always counting their steps, and making sure that our menus cater to those healthy options. So whether that's a grab and go market with quick local items that you can just grab on your way to your next meeting or on your way to the airport. But also, I think we talked about the generations, and there's so many generations traveling now, and the younger generations, they don't drink as much, right?
They don't.
So we have some of our brands that have curated some cocktail menus, and we call them free-spirited cocktails and spirited cocktails.
Okay.
So monitoring that drink consumption while on the road as well, just making sure it all comes back to getting that good night's rest.
Absolutely.
So you feel refreshed and ready to go to your meetings the next day or travel home to your family without feeling exhausted.
I get that. Understood. All right. So actually, we spoke about foodies and the generationals, different generations. How are hotels adapting to the growing number of generations traveling?
Yeah, and that's a great point, because we've never had more generations on the road than we do now, and so it's very important. But I think it's also important to recognize that each generation of travel, or the type of travel you're doing, requires a different stay experience.
Absolutely.
So we have many, many brands out there, and the new brands that we're curating, some of these lifestyle brands, these boutique brands, are curated to a certain type of traveler. If you're going for wellness, then you want to identify that hotel. If you're going to a convention, then you want to go to a classic Hilton or DoubleTree.
Exactly.
And so we've got all these brands that are curated for that. But essentially, we've identified four generations of travelers right now. So we have the Gen Alphas, which are the you know, the up and coming travelers, they're not booking themselves yet, but they are dictating where their parents book for travel. It's really, you know, I think back, you would tell your kids where you're going to go. Now the kids tell the parents where they're going to go.
They have a lot more access to internet and TikTok and all that. So I'm sure
they're very tech savvy.
Exactly.
So that's one generation. The other generation we refer to are the me-mooners.
What is?
The me-mooners.
Me-mooners.
So that is solo travel.
Oh.
So a lot more people these days are traveling on their own.
Okay.
And 50% of travelers in this report suggested that a book is their number one travel companion. Just getting away, relaxing, and reading a book.
Different.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely very different. So yeah, no, it's really, we had to cater to all these generations.
Absolutely.
Another generation that we've identified as traveling is the foodies. I think, you know, there's so so many shows on TV, and the food element of a destination is so important. And so hotels are really focusing on that and bringing in the local flair, the local flavors into their hotels, and just making sure those that are traveling for the food experience ultimately get that where they are, and you know, it's different from each location, hotel to hotel. So definitely a lot of focus on the menus.
Absolutely. I know I take pictures of my food, and I know many people do.
Exactly. So
yes.
I think you sound like you're crossing over a couple generations.
I am.
Okay. And then the last one, and very relevant to business travel, is frolics. Do you have any idea what a frolic is?
No.
So that is a friend and a colleague.
Oh.
Okay. So,
okay.
It's a new term that we dub, and I think it's coming more and more apparent. In fact, 1 in 4 travelers comment that they do want to stay on longer on their trips, and they stay with a colleague they were attending a conference or traveling with.
I've seen that a couple times. I never heard it. Called frolics.
So there you go.
Yeah,
You've heard it now.
okay,
So I think that's very important, because there are some generations that want to travel on their own. Me personally, I'd much rather be with someone else, and if I can combine work and pleasure at once and enjoy a destination with a friend at very little extra cost, and I think you're going to take advantage of that. Right?
Agreed.
And that all goes back to the travel maximizer. When you're on the road, you're absolutely maximizing your time.
Absolutely.
So I know I talked a lot threw a lot of new terms at you and talked about a lot of different trends, but ultimately all this can be found in our 2025 trend reports on Hilton.com. So obviously encourage you want to learn more about frolic and a me-mooner, you can absolutely hop on there and check it all out.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here, Ryan. And thank you again to our audience at home. My name is Janetta Costa-Sanchez, Country Director for GBTA Canada here at the Canada Conference in 2025. Thank you for joining us.